David B. Dichoso. I'm a senior high school teacher of Cabarugis National School of Arts and Trades, Cabarugis, Quirino. This live stream, we will talk about Module 5 of Oral Communication in Context. If you are a grade 11 student, kindly share this video to your classmates so that they will be informed that we are now live for our Module 5. I would like to shout out to all of my students for grade 11 Amber, Amethyst, Aquamarine, Crystal, Sapphire, Onyx, Emerald. Good afternoon to everyone. I hope that you are doing well, and I'm very much excited this afternoon to share with you what are the things that I know, and together we learn, relearn, and learn things about our new lesson. Before anything else, I would like to thank Ma'am Rosemary Cangas, my best teacher from Cagayan, for sponsoring me a snack this afternoon because she watched the video last time and she appreciated the efforts that I'm doing for my students. Thank you very much, Ma'am Cangas, for the snack. I love you so much, Ma'am Cangas. We love you. I and my classmates love you so much. Thank you very much and God bless you more. Let's have a recap of what we discussed last time. Last time we talked about the different ways on how to avoid communication breakdown. We talked about the tips given by Ronnie Peterson, the 7 C's of effective communication, and we also talked about the suggestions given by Kuiper. Today, we are going to move on with another lesson, a very interesting lesson, an easy topic that we are going to talk about. This week, our topic will focus on types of speech context, and we have the following objectives. Number 1, define speech context. Identify various types of speech context in different situations and employ appropriate verbal and non-verbal behavior in different speech contexts. If you are ready, kindly share first this video to your classmates and inform them that we are now live for our discussion. In the first part of your module, there are questions to be answered. These are questions that determine your prior knowledge about our topic on speech context. You are then to answer these questions. Later, we will discover the correct answers for these questions. If you're done answering these questions, now let's move on with our introductory part for our topic on page 5 of your module. But before anything else, let me start by saying there's never a day that we do not communicate. It is a fact that in the morning when we open our eyes, we pray. And with that, we start to communicate. When we stand in front of a mirror and look at ourselves, our reflection on it, we talk to ourselves when we say good things about us, about your physical attributes. For example, we would say like, this one looks awesome. You look awesome today. When you talk to your pet, that's a form of communication. When you talk to your parents at home, that's a form of communication. Speech context, on the other hand, we are going to determine the different types of it. While according to lumenlearning.com, speech context is defined as the surroundings, circumstances, environment, or background setting that determine or specify or clarify the meaning of an event. It is the place or the environment where the communication happens. According to De Vito, 2005, context refers to the setting in which the communication takes place. Context helps to establish meaning and can influence what is said and how it is said. On the lower part of your module, on page 5, there is a chart to be answered. In the chart, there are situations wherein we need to identify what speech context is present in here. Now, let's answer these items. Number 1. Consoling a friend who is feeling down. What do you think is the speech context in this item? Consoling a friend means there are only two individuals involved in that communication process or communication act. The best choice or answer for this one would be, I think it should be letter from the choices. It is letter C, communication with two people, two persons. Question number 2, cheering yourself up before an important event. Correct, it's me, Happy Virus, you are right. What about number 2, Happy Virus? Cheering yourself up before an important event. What is the correct answer here? I think the correct answer here is, you're right. The answer there should be letter B. Correct. What's your name? Kindly comment your name so that I can properly recognize you while you respond to the questions. Number 3. Delivering your graduation speech to your fellow graduates. Delivering a speech to your fellow graduates. What's the answer there? Miss Naisa Maranya. What's the answer for number 3? Number 3, it's letter A. You are again correct. Very good, Naisa. Number 4, discussing with your groupmate your assigned report. Discussing with your groupmate your assigned report. What speech context is this one? Correct. The answer is letter E, communication in a small group. Next, number 5, articulating your stand on a pressing issue in the editorial page. Naisa, what is the correct answer here? Yes, it's mass communication. It is because you are articulating your opinion using a newspaper, particularly the editorial section of the newspaper. Okay, we're good with that one. Now, let's move on. There are 2 types of speech context. The first one, we have intrapersonal. And the second one is interpersonal. The first one, intrapersonal, it involves only one person, and it plays the role as the sender and the receiver of the message. It happens when you think, when you reflect on your actions or decisions. That is intrapersonal. The second type of speech context is what we call as interpersonal. Interpersonal refers to a type of speech context involving 2 or more individuals. As simple as that. Intrapersonal, 1 person. Interpersonal, 2 or more individuals. And we're good with that. Now let's move on with types of interpersonal communication. The first type of interpersonal communication is what we call as dyad communication. Kindly say it. Dyad communication. It happens between two people. A communication that happens between two people. We call that one as dyad communication. Examples: when you are trying to comfort your friend who is heartbroken, when you try to ask your classmate about your assignment for oral communication in context. If there are only two individuals involved, that is dyad communication. Let's move on. On page 7, it says here, small group. This is a type of communication wherein there are at least 3 members but not more than 12. At least 3 members but not more than 12. Example of this is when we try to have a discussion with our group mates for our task in school. That is a small group communication. Small group, at least 3, but not more than 12. Next one, public. This type of communication refers to when a person is speaking before a number of audience. Example, a principal delivering his announcement during the flag ceremony. Another example, a politician campaigning for the upcoming election in front of the people. That is public communication. The fourth type of interpersonal communication is what we call as mass communication. In this type of speech context, the speaker uses a mass media. Example right now, I'm trying to lecture to my students our topic using Facebook and YouTube. This is a form of mass communication. Another example, newspapers, televisions, radio, and many more. So those are the different types of interpersonal communication. Let's have a recap. What are the two types of speech context? The first one we have intrapersonal, or in it involves only one person. The second type of speech context we have interpersonal, or in it involves two or more individuals. Under interpersonal communication, there are 4 classifications. The first one, we have dyad communication, wherein it involves only 2 individuals. Small group, it involves at least 3 but not more than 12 individuals. Public communication, one speaker with an audience, more than 12. Next, mass communication. It refers to a type of communication through television, radio, newspapers, magazines, books, billboards, the internet, and the other types of media. Live streaming is a form of mass communication. Are you all good with that? If yes, let's move on page 8 of your module. Verbal and non-verbal behavior in speech context. Different speech contexts, whether it is intrapersonal or interpersonal, public or mass communication, requires different approaches. Though there might be some occasional similarities, you should at least know how to behave and respond to various speech contexts appropriately. Hello, Angel. Hello, Marlo. Good afternoon. The first one, okay, when talking to yourself, these are the things to remember. Number 1, use self-talk to your advantage. Cheering yourself up before an important event or talking to yourself while completing a task are 2 perfect opportunities for self-talk, according to 2018 in his book Talking to Yourself is Normal. Well, I always do this self-talk. Before I go on stage and deliver a message or a speech, I try to reflect, I try to relax and tell to myself that I can do it. Because with that, I'm trying to motivate myself to be courageous enough to speak in front of people. Number two tip, it says here, don't overdo self-talk. While it's normal to talk to yourself constantly, it is better to not overuse yourself of doing it. The most common reason why people end up talking to themselves is because they feel like they don't have someone else to talk to. Well, that's also a fact. Sometimes when you do self-talk alone and you were caught off guard and someone noticed you that you are talking to yourself, verbalizing the things that are running in your head, they might think that you are out of your mind. So better also to control yourself when you do self-talk. If you can, if you can, do not verbalize it. Just do it in your mind. Okay? Do not overdo self-talk. Instead, if you can find somebody to talk to, then talk to him or her and express your thoughts and feelings. But nevertheless, self-talk is a form of what? Intra or interpersonal communication. Correct. That is intrapersonal communication. When talking to one person or a small group of people, consoling your friend for who is feeling down or simply talking with your classmates about your plans for group activity is an example of dyad and small group communication. Read with me. This kind of communication implies that a conversation is being shared and there is an exchange of ideas. Small group involves different skills because unlike dyad, it consists of more than two people. In here, we can get the point that when we do small group communication, it is important also that we recognize that there are also individuals who have something to say about the topic that we are saying or we're talking about. It is important that we also hear from others of what are the thoughts that are running in their head so that we can also learn from them. There must be an equal opportunity to everyone to speak in small group. That's what I understood with this one. Number one tip in small group, it says here, listen carefully. Needless to say, this is very basic foundation of effective communication. The prime goal of effective communication is to be understood. As a receiver of the message, you have to listen carefully to the message given by the sender. Because when you listen, you try to put your heart into it. You try to put yourself in the shoe of the speaker. And with that, you can give a feedback that is effective and efficient. Listen carefully. Number two, you have to check your tone and body language. The vocabulary of your body is more revealing than the actual words you speak. That is a fact. Action speaks louder than words. Your actions when you deliver a message to somebody must be directly related to the words that you are saying. They have to be congruent. They should match. Your actions should match the feeling, the content of your message. But of course, you have to be calm when you communicate to somebody. You have to compose yourself properly. When talking to public, speaking in front of the crowd requires many preparations. From analyzing your target audience, that is consideration, correct? Right? To planning and drafting your speech, up to the rehearsing part. Be yourself while you are on stage. and speak in the way that you will be easily understood by your listeners. I like for a fact here that in your module it is stated that we have to analyze our audience. Knowing our audience means we try to get to know what appropriate language we use to deliver the message that we want them to learn. Correct? We have to plan. We have to make a blueprint of the flow of our speech. We need to gather data. We practice in front of a mirror that could help you. I think we're done with the discussion for this module. Now, let's move on with the activities on page 10 of your module. Are you still with me? In here, there is a crossword puzzle that we have to answer. Okay, number 1. 4 students are discussing their thesis proposal. What speech context is this? There are 4. It's more than 3. That is what? Kindly answer. Correct. Small group. Naisa, you are right. Number 2. Webinars for teachers are conducted via Facebook Live. It's live stream. What type of speech context is that? Live streaming. The answer is mass communication. You got it right. Congratulations. Number 3. Miggy requested his brother Miko to help him on his task. There are 2 individuals in here. What's the answer? It's an interpersonal communication. Interpersonal. The answer is interpersonal. Though, there are only 2 individuals involved, but definitely it will fall under interpersonal. Because the number of boxes in here matches interpersonal. Dyad is under interpersonal. You're still right. Number 4. The principal interviews a teacher applicant. That is, it's a 4-letter word. Answer is dyad. Correct. Number 5. Eman talks to himself in a mirror. In front of a mirror. That is intrapersonal. Very good, Naisa. Number 6. The city mayor delivered a speech for his townsfolk. The answer there is public. Correct. Now, let's move on. On page 11. Based on what you have learned from the previous activities, define speech context in your own words. For me, speech context pertains to the type of environment or communication between people. It pertains to the time possible, setting. It pertains to the number of individuals involved. Number 2, as a senior high school student, what do you think is the advantage of having communication skills in variety of contexts? Do you think it will help you improve your personality? Why or why not? Good communication skills is very important. It's because as a social being, you have to know how to communicate with people in the different aspects or levels or ways. More importantly, as an individual, you also need to learn how to reflect on your actions. Definitely, it will help me or it will help myself improve. Number 3, Do you agree with this statement? Speech context can influence one's behavior? I think yes. Example, when you are to deliver a speech in front of your classmates or a public speech, definitely you need to prepare. You have to make sure that everything that you're going to say would benefit everyone. It would definitely change your behavior. In intrapersonal communication, when you talk to yourself and reflect on your actions, you ponder whether you said the things right or you have done something wrong. In one way or another, it will help you improve as an individual. Number 4, which of the types of speech context do you find easy to practice? Which ones do you find it difficult? Personally, for me, the easiest way is intrapersonal. It's because no one is involved, it's only yourself. While I find mass communication difficult, just like right now, live streaming. I find it difficult, it's because I'm putting myself into a spotlight. I might give or state things that are not correct, either in the structure of English or in the content. But nevertheless, I'm trying to do my best for me to help my students in learning their lessons. I think mass communication is a difficult speech context to master. Number 5, what should you do to improve your skills? For me to improve my skills in speaking, I think I have to remind myself that learning is a wonderful thing, that I can do all things if I put my heart and mind into it. That no matter how hard it is, if you are really dedicated to do it, you can become a good speaker. No one is born to be a speaker. Actually, you have to earn experiences and knowledge for you to become a good speaker, for you to inspire people. That's what I think I should do to improve my skills. I should be aware of my weaknesses and transform these weaknesses into my strengths through learning. Let's move on. On page 12 of your module, what can I do? Using this graphic organizer below, describe each type of speech context and give 3 examples for each. For the description, refer to the following rubric evaluating the answer in the description. Okay, let's start. Intrapersonal communication. What's the description of it? Intrapersonal is when you talk to yourself. Nobody's involved aside from you, from yourself alone. Example, when you talk to yourself on the mirror, when you reflect on your actions, when you do your quiet time, when you try to read the Bible and ponder on the verse that caught your attention or your thematic verse for the day. That is intrapersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is when you talk to others. It could be dyad or small group. Example, when you talk to your crush, when you PM somebody on Facebook asking his or her number, when you when you try to contact the courier of your order from Shopee. This is not a sponsored video, okay? So those are examples of interpersonal communication. Dyad, I gave that dyad. Public communication. Number 1, when you try to deliver a speech in front of your group mates or public of your whole school, for example, flag ceremony. Next, Donald Trump delivers a speech, a campaign speech in preparation for the election. Another example, public, a pastor delivering a sermon, a priest delivering a homily. Face to face, okay? It's not via live stream. Next, mass communication examples. When you use mass media such as television, internet to communicate to people. Examples, number one, Sir Dave doing live stream for his lessons in oral communication. Next, when Stevenson Natividad did a live stream for Mobile Legends, online gaming. Another, when I wrote an article published in newspaper, that's a form of mass communication. I think we're good with that one. Number 12, page 12. And then you are going to answer the assessment on page 14 of your module. It's easy. Additional activities. Try to recall what you did and how you felt when you experienced any of these situations. Your best friend confided a secret to you. You delivered a speech in front of your classmates as a subject requirement. You talked to yourself about the things you did and what you were supposed to do instead. What can you say about your experiences? What did you learn from it? If you have a second chance, how will you deal with the situations? What examples of verbal and non-verbal responses will you use? Write your answer in a separate sheet of paper. So in here, what is asked for of you is to do a reflection of your activity of your past. Maybe when you had a conversation with your friend, when you delivered a speech in your class, or something like that. And then you answer the guide questions in here. Okay, let me try to answer. What can you say about your experience, Sir Dave, when you delivered a speech in front of your class before when you were a student? When I delivered a speech in front of my classmates before, I was very nervous. I was very nervous for the fact that I was not that prepared. What did you learn from it? I learned from it that I have to be prepared every time that I stand in front of people. If you have a second chance, how will you deal with the situations? If I had the second chance, or if I could go back to the same situation before, I would have at least gathered all possible references or details to support my opinion. Because with that, I think I could have done better than what I did before. What examples of verbal and non-verbal responses will you use? I should have at least done like minimal hand gestures. I should have established my presence in front more, something like that. So I think we're done with the discussion and we almost answered everything of your module. If you have questions about the answers, the questions in your module, please do not be hesitant to ask me, to PM me on Facebook or in our group chat. Once again, thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Have a wonderful day. Keep safe, everyone. And please like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much and God bless us all.